In the final GOP debate of the year, a total of 13 Republican presidential candidates took to the stage in two separate events in Las Vegas, debating the issue of national security and what our national security might look like under their leadership. But what about the convictions, characteristics, and values of the man or the woman in the hunt for the office? Doesn't that matter as well? Well, sure it does. And that's why our next guest created a wish list of the characteristics our next commander-in-chief must exhibit. Here to share those qualities with us, the president of the Southern Evangelical Seminary, Dr. Richard Land, who has been studying presidential leadership for decades and has created a holiday wish list of characteristics our next commander-in-chief must possess. Richard, it's great to have you here. Merry Christmas. Can you tell us what quality is at the top of your wish list?
Well, a person of deep faith. I think it's terribly important that we have a commander-in-chief, we have a president who is someone who is aware and understands that they are accountable to a higher authority than themselves, that they are not the ultimate authority. They are not the arbiter of truth. They are not the arbiter of what is right and what is wrong. And of course, as a Christian, I would strongly prefer for that person to be a person of the Christian faith, although that's, I would take a devout Jew over an atheist, for instance. They need to be a truth teller. They need to be, Peggy Noonan wrote a book that I'd recommend to everybody many years ago called Character Above All, in which she said the really great presidents are always presidents who wanted to be president for a reason. They didn't just want to be president because of the accoutrements of power or because they were power mad or any of those things, but because they really wanted to get something done. They had a vision for what they want, where they wanted the country to go. So I believe we have to have a person of character, someone who's a truth teller, someone who is a faithful husband or wife, someone who is a devoted father or mother, someone whose home exemplifies what we believe that a home should be. The president, that is a bully pulpit, and you can have a tremendous influence. I mean, think about the negative influence that Bill Clinton had on a whole generation of young people because of his sexual escapades. We want the opposite of that when we're looking for someone to be in the White House.
And it's no mistake that Theodore Roosevelt called it the bully pulpit. Now, You've also said, Richard, that a leader should be a person of courage who pursues the role of statesman rather than politician. In your mind, sir, what is the difference?
Well, Winston Churchill said that a politician is concerned about the next election. A statesman is concerned about the next generation. And I can give you a perfect example of that. In July of 2004, I had the privilege of being in the Oval Office with President George W. Bush during the height of the campaign for the presidency in 2004 and all of the stuff that was going on in Iraq. And he said to me, now, Richard, I'm going to do what I believe is best for the country. If that means that I don't get reelected, so be it. I'm going to do what I believe is best for the country. That's a statesman.
Well, what's interesting, Richard, and no irreverence meant, but maybe a little bit of humor. The late great Speaker of the House, Tom Reed of Maine, was asked about this, I guess in the late 19th century. He said it has been his experience that a statesman is merely a dead politician. In other words, decisions are made, and when people pass from the scene, others look at them perhaps a bit more charitably than they looked in times past. But be that as it may, I'm just kind of curious, for Americans, but for people of faith in particular, how important is it for voters to do their own research on the presidential candidates?
Oh, I think it's vitally important that they do their own research and they find out as much as they can about these people, about their positions, and about their character. Harry Truman once said that he would never knowingly hire a man to work for him who cheated on his wife. And when he was asked why, he said, well, if a man will lie to his wife, he'll lie to me. If he'll break his oath of marriage, he'll break his oath of office. It's pretty hard to argue with Harry's logic.
As we listen to those words from the man from Independence, I want to bring it back into the here and now. From your vantage point, is there any one candidate you have seen thus far who exhibits the qualities you believe are important in the next commander-in-chief?
Well, I think there are several that do. I think that on that field last night, you had people who I think many of whom are truth tellers. I'll answer the question in reverse.
Okay, very quick. We've got about 15 seconds. One other take. A lot of people are good, I guess the way we'd say it, Richard, is we have to do our own research, right? That's what we need to do. Okay, fair enough. Richard Land Skyping in from Charlotte. We appreciate it very much. Now, you heard what Dr. Land had to say. Agree or disagree? Why don't you send me your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments. There's more ahead, so stay with us.